Super Mind Stretchers. It's got a charm to it.
I have my cup of tea.
You have your cup of tea.
My staple cup of tea. I've got my Ben here. And I got Tom as well.
I'm here.
It's been a hot
With my
minute.
cup of tea. I just wanted to see what type of intro I'd get.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brent. Hey, guys.
It's been
Hello.
a long time.
It has.
It feels like it's been a long
probably a
time.
month.
Yeah.
We've had
I'm
a
just
hiatus.
did the whole thing where I was itching to ask you 1,000,001 questions about
Oh, yeah.
the trip and everything, but you gotta hit the old record
Save
button.
it for the folks at
absolutely.
home.
It
This
would
one's
be-
for you.
We've got a photo, I think, don't we, of the setup, or at least one of the setups we've had on the website. But Brendan, you kindly sort of lug all the gear around, mobile style.
Mm.
But I was thinking that would be like the luxury of going into an actual like studio would be that you just maybe it would all be set up and you just wander in and start chatting.
Mm.
I don't know. Or do real podcasters have like the discipline to like hold back all the juicy chat?
Yeah, I don't
They've
know.
just got juicy chat coming out of them all day long. I think it doesn't matter.
Mm.
We, to our credit, Brendan,
Mm.
sat down for a record,
This is true.
got
yeah.
chatting, and
Yep.
then chose not to record.
Not to
That
record.
one
That
was
one
just
was
for
for
you
just for
guys.
us.
It
Yeah.
was.
I
It
like
really
that,
was
yeah.
that vibe as well. It wasn't even like we forgot or whatever. It was just we were having a deep and meaningful.
Yep.
Wouldn't have made for great podcast
No.
fodder, I don't think, but it made for great
Friendship
Ben
fodder.
and Brendan. Friendship fodder.
Friendship
Thank you,
fodder.
yes.
Well, I like to imagine from that photo that I think is on the website of us all on the one couch, sort of arms around each other. I like to think that people think that that's how we record. Just
Yeah.
arm in
Just
arm,
three guys
in
in
the
the
couch,
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
every episode into one mic.
We could. I think we should. I think we should do it like they used. It's always really romantic seeing like the singers kind of like sing into the same mic together.
Oh yeah.
Like Lennon and McCartney or whatever, like both like doing harmonies
When
into
he,
one
when
microphone.
he walks over and
Yeah, why not?
joins the one mic. Yeah, that's always cool.
Maybe we could do that podcasting, just three of us all smushed into it.
Well, speaking of music, while you boys were holding down the fort, I listened to your episode a few weeks ago, the homemade thermometer. Nice little episode.
Mhm.
Great one. And but while you were doing that, I was in Japan
Yes.
Heck yeah.
at a music festival, Fuji Rock Festival.
Fuji Rock.
Yes.
So near at Fuji?
No.
Mount Fuji? Oh, okay.
I had to look this up. It used to be apparently the first
Gotcha.
two festivals, if my understanding is correct. It started maybe in 1999, so it goes back a fair way. This
Right.
festival,
Holy moly.
and they
Yeah,
did
the Matrix
start.
came out.
yes, that is true.
Yeah, I think the Red Hot Chili Peppers might have headlined one of the
cool.
first couple.
Mm.
But from all reports, the first couple of Fuji Rock festivals were a disaster.
Okay.
For many reasons, I think, but like logistical, practical. But one of the big things is that it's in July in Japan, which is
Right.
extremely hot and humid.
Yeah,
right.
okay.
So it's not the best time to visit Japan, but it is worth it for this festival.
Be fine for the Chili Peppers.
Yeah,
They
they'd
don't
be-
tend to wear a huge amount on stage.
No,
do they?
canonically.
I
they
thought
do
you were
not.
making a chili joke, but
That
never
works
mind.
too.
Oh, there you go. It worked on two levels. Yeah.
But so they moved the festival up to a ski resort.
It's two more than most of my jokes.
What is normally a ski resort, about 3 hours north of Tokyo.
Yeah.
So it's higher in elevation, a little bit cooler, but not much.
Do you know what the elevation is, just out of interest?
I don't.
Oh.
But enough for
Time is up. It is actually.
but there is a snow line up there, and we're at. It must be at least 6,000 feet. I'm gonna
Sure.
say.
Yeah, right.
Oh, right. Because there is a snow line. Wait,
There
what?
is
How
a
did you
snow
figure
line.
that out? Okay.
Oh well, I don't know. Maybe that's not consistent across the whole world. I just know that when I go to the US and visit like the snow areas,
Yeah.
and I find out that I'm at an altitude higher than anywhere that you can go in Australia.
Yeah,
Australia is
right.
so flat,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
but then I guess Australia's got snow lines, so like, as in like snow.
Yeah, I think
So,
Okay.
Kosciuszko is like 7,000 and something feet.
Okay.
I think.
So that might- maybe
fact check
that's-
me on
Is
that. but
snow
I'm pretty
line
sure.
the same as tree line, or is snow line where the snow ends and then?
Good question.
That's a good question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did
probably
learn that
similar.
when I was in the Rocky Mountain National Park. and you can see the line on the mountain
Right.
where the vegetation changes,
Right.
because like it's regularly, and it's like somebody drew a line. It's crazy.
Maybe it's a different word, like from your episode about thermometers, which direction the temperature is going. Is it going down or up? And then you have a melting point or a freezing point. Learned that from your episode. Thanks, guys.
No worries.
I once watched a documentary when I was a kid, and I should find it again, but it was just showing different jobs, and one of these jobs was these people that would live in a cabin on the side of opposite a ski resort, so on like a mountain peak that's across a ravine, and they would just fire a rocket launcher at the opposite mountain during the off season to trigger avalanches to get rid of all the loose snow.
That's badass.
So for a long time, I was like, I know what job I want when I grow up.
Avalanche creator.
Conservation.
Conservation.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are at
Fuji
not
Rock.
at Mount Fuji,
No,
but
at
at Fuji Rock.
They kept the name, moved the festival.
Mhm.
So it was very cool driving in. You know, when you drive, sort of, there's a valley, mountains on either side, and you're driving. It's not in a tunnel, but it's like in a cutout of one of the sides of
Yeah,
the valley,
sure.
and you can see out the side, kind of through like cement windows.
Wicked.
Very cool. And as we approach the festival, you can sort of make out some of the stages, but you can also see everyone who's going to camp at the festival, all their tents, like colorful tents, all the way up the mountain.
Oh, cool.
That's
Looked really cool.
unbelievable.
It was a lot of effort. I'll say that my wife and I, we like to do low effort, high reward things in our
Yeah,
life when
sure.
it comes to hikes and
Yeah.
adventures and whatnot. I'd say this was high effort, but high reward.
Yeah, cool.
3-day festival, very hot and sweaty. Haven't been to a music festival for many years.
Mhm.
Other than WOMAD, WOMAD Adelaide Festival, which is also very hot. Very orderly, I must say. Japanese
I was going to ask.
festival.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
That's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? But I think it holds true, doesn't it? They're
yeah.
very cues and moving like quickly. The way the trains run, that's kind of how their festivals and things run.
The trains are very well on time. Can attest to that. The trains are also just lovely, especially the Shinkansen. We didn't take one this time, but the high speed rail,
Oh, boy.
beautiful trains, pleasure to ride in. Very expensive, but you get what you pay for. At the festival, things like the toilets and the food and just all the logistical side of it was just very well run. But it is still, I think it was nearly 40,000 people per day.
Yeah, wow.
Good grief.
In a very packed, tightly compacted space. Very cool walking between the stages. I think there's a lot of music festivals out there where the stages are difficult to get between. But at least in this case, we were walking on like boardwalks through the forest. So there's like a beautiful river next to us. You've got beautiful trees all around, and they go into a lot of effort to decorate a lot of the forest as well. So they were just like disco balls in the forest. So they're all day festivals, but by the time you got to nighttime, they lit up the disco balls, which just looked awesome. Shafts of light
holy moly.
In a
going
forest,
through all the
Yeah.
forest. So yeah, really, I'll put some photos through.
Oh,
So
sweet.
all that time there, but very
Was
good
it-
fun.
Did people still trash the place? Like after a festival when you just see like litter and people have just dropped all their stuff everywhere?
No, they were very good. There's stations for dropping off your trash and recycling, and compost and stuff, and they're very good about splitting off all the bits of the various bits of your meal. People at the stations helping to guide you into that, and then I'll send through another photo as well that we can put online of this by day 3. So the trash places, I think they were collecting up bits of trash into bags and then tying them off, and then those bags just got thrown onto one big pile of bags that just grew about like 6 meters tall or something over the 3 days, and then they were just going to get rid of all that at once, I guess, at the end of the festival.
I think so. Then they cover it, and that's how you make the next Fuji. And they just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Like a Burning Man style thing or something. So I'll put that. I'll send that photo through. But
It's the dream.
There's not trash around.
Clean and orderly rock and roll.
And because it's so hot, most people aren't drinking a lot. There is alcohol there. They're from everything I understand, they're a bit stricter on drugs.
Yeah, right.
But people in general just weren't out of control. What's funny is the Japanese crowds, when they're listening to music, the bands and the artists, very into it, very.
Oh, that's they say the Japanese audiences. Like every band goes to Japan and wants to go to Japan.
Yeah, all music styles,
heavy metal and everything.
The crowd was very diverse in terms of like age and look and things. So it's not like certain artists. There was a range of artists. There was some, very clubby DJ, heavy beats sort of thing, which is not necessarily my style, but it's kind of cool to walk past and hear. And particularly we had torrential rain on one of the days, so sometimes that's kind of just cool just to see happening next to you. And then there was some like folk artists and like rock and punk and just everything in between. But the people that you'd see at each show would be the same sort of mix. Like you'd get old and young at all of the different shows, men, women. It's like a largely Japanese crowd, so maybe I would have guessed maybe 80% Japanese. And then, maybe 20% foreigners.
Is it like international acts? You said like Chili Peppers in the past. Is it like, do they have Japanese like bands and acts and stuff?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the breakdown was, but I would say it's probably 50-50.
Oh, yeah, cool.
The headliners seem to be bigger international acts. So the headliners across the 3 days were Wolfpack, which was one of the bands that I was very keen to see. I know you're a big fan, Brennan. Vampire Weekend. And
I really dig Vampire Weekend.
Yeah, it was cool.
I haven't heard a lot, but what I have heard, I'm just like, these guys. One of their songs, "Step." I don't know. That's my favorite song of theirs. It takes me away.
Yeah.
I'm just really proud that you've said two bands that headlined, and I've heard of both of them.
Yeah,
I was like not expecting to actually know.
Well, here you go. The third one I didn't know of was Fred Again, which was a very popular artist.
There you
go. In a style of music that I wasn't as familiar with. So those were the three headliners, and then
you mean Right Said Fred?
Yeah. What was their song?
That was
one hit wonders.
I'm So Sexy, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember which of the. I always forget between like Tub Thumping and
Chumbawamba.
Yeah,
nice.
With the knowledge.
Oh yeah, if it's very out of date old daggy dad music, I'm right there.
One of the cool surprises was so the crowds listening to the bands are very attentive. And they'll get into any audience participation thing. So it's like arms like side to side, or like the call and response. Even if it's in English, they're willing to get into it. And but then I noticed and people go nuts after each song for about 3 to 5 seconds. And then the sound just completely cuts away, and then they're just attentively waiting for the next song, and no one's speaking or laughing or cheering, or there's no like ongoing merriment, and so you feel like you have to whisper between songs because everything just goes to nothing, and then get back into it again for the next song. So I think some of the artists who've been to Japan before and performed are used to that, but it did seem to throw a few of the artists, I think, like who maybe haven't played in Japan before.
Throw me in the audience. I'd be the one guy to be like, just be
you just clapped a little bit too long. Sorry. Yeah.
I think I have heard some artists say they weren't sure if people were enjoying it because they weren't used to Japanese crowds, and then when it came time for them to applaud, they just like went nuts.
Yeah,
and I went, okay. But I don't know. I've been to so many shows where I'm trying to listen, or maybe the artist is really important to me, and like people are talking and like standing by the bar, chit chatting. I just it sounds like exactly the kind of crowd that I would wish upon many shows that I've been to.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I think once I got used to it, it was nice. And for the Japanese artists, we happened to be by the main stage for one of the days where I hadn't heard of him, but he's very well known in Japan and internationally. He's like 70 now, I think, but he was one of the pioneers of a style of music called city pop, which is like a very Japanese or like Tokyo style of music. It's to me, it's like it ranges between sort of sort of city ballad style, and then a bit disco-y and boppy. But if you heard, there'd be something really familiar to you about the sound of it. I think about that style of music. But this guy apparently like kind of pioneered it, and he got the biggest crowd with the most excitement and interest. And then he brought on a guest, a woman who was also a little older, who I think was also in that realm of like a legend of the scene sort of thing, and people just went bananas. So yeah, definitely.
Who was this?
That's
sorry?
Cool.
I'd have to look up the name, but I wasn't familiar.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I'll look it up later. But then I think the highlight was there was an American artist who named Ginger Root, who I sent you a link to, Brennan.
I when you sent that to me, I watched it and just thought, holy biscuits, like, has Josh heard about this?
Oh, yeah.
And I went and asked Josh, and he's like, yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
And I think he might have tried to he had played one of the songs in the past.
Okay.
But yeah, what a cool dude.
I felt late to the
coolest
party.
cat.
I'll send the link to you as well, Ben. But
I
got onto it just from looking through the set list before going to the festival to be like, I wonder who else is on the list, and looked up this guy and just listened to like the top song on YouTube basically. And this song called Loretta made it really big for him, but a lot of other good songs as well. But when you watch the clip, it's a very his style is 70s, 80s VHS like cut video, and Loretta he plays every musician on the stage like a old school sound, like TV stage for music.
Yeah,
but he's playing every instrument, so he's like cut it together well like that. And he's in this like funny suit, and he's got this funny long hair, and he's just like singing this. I think in a city pop style. There's like Loretta, I see you every now and then, and he's just like dancing along as well with his great moves. Yeah.
It's like loungy, but it's like super slick, funky bass line, and just
And the music hit me first. I was like, okay, this sounds really cool. I'm definitely gonna check this guy. He sounds really good. Sent it to Chris and my wife, and we were like, yep, definitely gonna put him on the list to see. And then I went into the back catalog of his stuff, and he's got videos on his YouTube channel back to when he was like 15 or 16, and he was really into. He was a film student after that, but he was really into stop motion stuff, and he has this really good video of him doing just all by himself. It's a workbook, kind of like a textbook, but like a workbook sitting in front of him, and he stop motion videos like the book opening up sideways, so you've got like landscape pages, A4 pages in front, like one down, one up, and then he just animates it by drawing on the pages but making it look like a laptop, and then like typing things on the laptop and having them come up all stop motion style. Looks really, really cool.
I think he might have sent that one to me too.
Oh yeah.
And I did watch that one, and I was blown away by how stationary he kept the book.
Yeah.
Because like things were changing, and obviously he's altering things and adding paper to it and removing paper from it and changing the pages and stuff. But
so he's like glued it down.
He must have, because it was solid as a rock. Like any kind of perturbation or disturbance in the thing would, over a course of a time lapse or over a course of like a stop motion, would like amplify it and be so noticeable. But this thing was so I'm like, how? I don't know how, because he didn't have to do that.
Right.
It would have still been charming if it was moving around a little bit. But I can remember being struck by, how did he do this?
Yeah, that really tickled my sort of curiosity show crafts mind, where I was like, stop motion, that's so cool. I wish I'd like either had access to or done more of that as a kid, I feel.
Oh man, that was the thing where like the number of stop motion things that I started that got like 50 frames in, which is like 2 seconds of content, and then you're like, this takes so long. This is, my 38 odd years undiagnosed ADHD until recently. So maybe, hey, now I'm on meds, man. I could be like stop motion king.
Is that what happens to everyone who tries to stop? Wasn't that a bit in Parks and Rec where Ben Wyatt, he's got time off, or he's unemployed, and he's doing stop motion. He goes to show someone how much he's done. It just goes for like 2.5 seconds. He's like, that took me all week. Or whatever.
Yeah, your high reward, low effort, or whatever. It's not. It's
the opposite.
But like when it's done well, man, it's so there's all sorts of ones. people get so creative. There's the ones where people do it like looking down on the floor and they use laundry and clothing and kind of make characters.
Yeah.
So that is definitely one of those things that I feel like, I have a lot of these discussions, particularly with students around AI and the future of video and content and films and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And AI, you'll definitely be able to create that stuff and make it look as good. But I do feel like stop motion, part of it is this knowledge of it. It's like I actually like when you can see the fingerprint marks on a plasticine kind of figure or something like that. Gumby and those
people
old
have always
ones.
said that about Wallace and Gromit. You can see that and I think Nick, what's his name from Aardman? I'm blanking on the creator of Wallace and Gromit's name, and I'm sorry, Nick. I can forget his last name. Yeah, Nick Park. I think you're right. I think it's Nick Park. Sorry if that's wrong, but I think he's on record saying that saying that we never wanted to fix that. That's what makes
like a little bit of that handmade thing. But I feel like that's just going to be more and more important. That's what was so impressive in the Lego movies when they're all 3D animated, 3D generated, but then having to go in and put in the imperfections and the texturing and the scuff marks that make old Lego feel so recognizable as a thing. But the effort, I guess, to go to make it like that in CGI would be high. AI, I guess, can just recreate that. I don't know.
And the 80s spaceman hit the bottom of his helmet is snapped.
Chin strap.
Because every 80s spaceman that I had as a kid, all my friends, anyone with the I had one of those little spaceman kits, and that they all broke there. And I'm pretty sure in the reissues of Lego Spaceman, they purposely
pre-break.
They put that in there. I think it's stronger, but it's got that little thing because Lego just know what they're doing, and they've just got a great sense of humor about that stuff.
Have we talked much about Lego on this pod before? Because I am fascinated by Lego and the precision and the...
I did see a great video on how they are cast and removed from the mold, because in order to be so exact, the walls look like parallel, but there's a slight taper to the walls of a Lego brick are slightly thicker up the top than they are down the bottom, because that's how they go how they come out of the mold.
Right. Okay.
But it's just so exact and so precise. And you think about it, like any error in that, if you make a massive wall the size of a room, which people do, you'd think any of those errors would amplify of it. But you could do that and have it come around on itself, and it would be exactly square and exactly right, because it's just precision engineering.
And the fact that they can snap together, but then also be unsnapped, that fascinates me. The fact that there is a grip to them that is mechanical, with no adhesive or anything like that, and yet strong enough to kind of support itself, but then has just the right amount of pressure to just use your fingers to snap them apart again
through millions of cycles. Like you could put on and remove, and I wonder if they've done studies on, like, because you'd imagine if you did that over and over and over, surely that plastic would fatigue over time and crack or expand and not have as positive a adhesion to the next brick. But I've never seen it happen through my Lego that's older than me.
I don't have a strong memory of having bits of Lego that you kept to the side. They're like, oh, these are the weak ones that I don't use anymore. Like,
they're
never
just
happened.
they're just like
over
and over
the
and over.
fidelity of them is still so good.
Now they come with the little remover tools,
like
the little orange tool. You might have seen them, Ben, but you can kind of put them on the platform Lego bits, and then you bend it and flick, and they're great at separating platform things, because back in the day, that was what your teeth were for. And so I don't think there's a single piece of Lego that I had when I was a kid that doesn't have like teeth.
I should figure out how to use
one.
one of those things. I'm sure we've got one. I do a lot of Lego with my son at the moment, and there's a lot of being handed pieces saying, "Can you pull these apart, Dad? Can you pull these apart, Dad?" But that's the point of pride. That's the sort of equivalent of opening a pickle jar or whatever. Is like, one day my son will stop handing me pieces of Lego, asking me to separate them. And little tear will roll down my face.
One day you'll separate that last piece of Lego and you won't know that it's the last one.
Cats in the cradle,
but like for my 40th, one of my mates organised my communal present was a pre-order of the Ocarina of Time Deku tree, and like it had. It was the Deku tree that you could build to be the Ocarina of Time style, Zelda Ocarina of Time style Deku tree, or the Breath of the Wild one. I did really? Ocarina of Time, right. But I took a photo of where I was in the build where you could branch off into the other one. So maybe one day I'll convert it to a Zelda Ocarina of Time
10-sided tree.
Ooh. I don't know. I didn't count how many sides there were.
Because of the Deku? Is that what you're...
he was saying Deca. So I have no idea what you're talking about. Right, so I'm trying to guess what this thing is.
I don't know if you played much Ocarina of Time, but I know Tom did.
I know of
the Deku.
I don't know. I've never seen it, never played it.
I said Deku. It's the name of the sort of forest folk.
Oh, I see.
The Deku tree is like... Yeah, and... I said Deku when I think most people say Deku.
The reason we don't know, Ben, is because in the game, when they talk, they just go, and then the words come up on the screen. Yeah. So you don't actually...
Is that Japanese? Is that what you...
No, Ben.
Okay, sorry. But I said that because I was thinking when you then corrected it and said Deku tree, I was like, oh, okay, is this like a Japanese word or something? Because it's like a Nintendo game or something like that.
I just know it as the character.
Yeah,
okay. But he's a big old tree.
Okay. So it was at least I got the tree.
Yeah, you got
the
tree part.
All right,
for sure.
Okay.
But I don't know. Did I ever tell you about what they included in this?
No.
Kit? Okay, so this is just one last story about Lego just having not only engineering brilliance but just so much heart. I was putting this thing together because my birthday present was the pre-order because it hadn't come out yet, and then it shipped to me when they came out, and I started putting it together with Nora. And I got to a point where, because a Navi is another character who's a little fairy, and I can speak for Tom. Like, this game just means so much.
I totally appreciate the thing of Zelda, and like what it means to people and stuff like that. It's just one of these things where I've just been on the outside of this loop. So in a minute, I'm going to get you to you both to sort of pitch me and where I come in at it, but finish this.
The reason why Ocarina of Time was so special is because it was the first 3D one. It was the first one on
Nintendo 64.
64.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the first Zelda game on 64, and it was the first time that second only to probably Mario. It's like Nintendo's flagship, and it was the first 3D adventure game of its kind. And it was just like how they fit it in the design triumph that game is unbelievable. The story, the feel of it, the aesthetic. I could sing its praises forever. And one of the coolest mechanics in the game was if you want to target on an enemy, and this is the first time I'd seen it. Gaming historians could probably correct me. But it was the first time that I'd ever played a 3D game that was where you'd fight, but in order to, if you saw an enemy, you would target them, and then you'd rotate around that enemy. And this is the first time I'd ever seen that. But they even made a story appropriate explanation for that happening. So you had a little fairy that flew around you that told you, that helped you, and your fairy's name was Navi. And if you wanted to target on an enemy, she would fly over to that enemy, and your target was like her guiding you. And then if there was an object on the wall that was like a secret object, she'd fly over there and she'd turn a different color. and that would be, you know, what told you something was over there, and you could look where she was, and it was sort of like an aiming sort of thing. But if she'd locked on to an enemy, she'd turn green. No, she'd turn yellow. If she'd locked onto a secret, she'd turn green. And if she'd locked onto a person that you could talk to, she'd turn like blue. When I unpacked her, like every time I unpacked a new part of the Lego build, and I was like, oh my God, that's this. And it would slowly reveal itself what it was. And then when I opened it up and there was a little Navi stud in there, I was like, oh, wow. And I was starting to get really nostalgic. And then she came with a little bag and I was like, what's this? And they had a couple of different colored studs in there. And you could either put a green stud in the center to make her glow green, or a blue translucent stud, or a yellow translucent stud. And I just like burst into tears. I thought, because they just didn't need to do that at all.
Yeah.
And that there was no fanfare or anything in the instructions or anything like that. That was in there. It wasn't explained. It was just like the person who designed this and put this together gave a crap. And
it feels like Lego maybe and Nintendo, but probably have that sort of similar thing as big successful corporations whose job it is to like market to children and young people and stuff. But there seems to be a fair bit of care and a fair bit of effort made to make things, you know,
to prove that you can have
nicer.
both.
Yeah. And I just like, I mean, it didn't surprise me that they would do something like that, but it was just like, I knew it was in good hands.
That's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a long story about Lego. Sorry.
Yeah, you should be. That's all right. We'll cut all of that.
Oh, good.
Except for the last bit, so people will just hear, yeah, sorry, that was a long story about Lego.
But yeah.
Leave them wondering.
But I'm still keen to hear like even more about Japan.
We've only scratched the surface of Japan.
We've only scratched the surface.
Well, like in Thai, Ginger Root stop motion. Oh, another one of his videos was that he did like a little vlog. Again, I don't know how old he was, but he seemed like he must be about 17 or 18 or something. And his dad took him to the filming of an OK Go film clip, which was a stop motion one, like the one where they're at a park near a little river, and like a goose gets involved as well, or a swan. I can't remember now. Sort of a bird follows them around because they take all day, and then they sleep there as well at night. The band members, as they're doing their very, very long stop motion dance around the park. And Ginger, the guy Cameron was there, and so he's got video of him like at the park, like geeking out about the band and stuff. There's years before he would ever do his songs. And then to bring it full circle, OK Go was at Fuji Rock, so I got to see them as well. Which is a band that I've wanted to see for a long time.
Yeah, what are they like live?
Super good. Yeah, they just because I only ever knew them through their video clips, the famous video clips. Rube Goldberg Machine, and
that's mostly what I know them.
Yeah,
right.
But I do think they are unfairly sometimes like
pigeonholed as
I think some people go, oh, their music's not that great, but they're just popular because of these music. I was like, I actually think the songs are really great.
They're really catchy, and I think what they do well at their live show, because if you listen to whole albums and like the whole back catalog, I think I usually do just like the hits. The ones that have the good video clips tend to be the songs that I do like, and I do like those songs. But their live shows, just I got to the end of the show, I was like, I just like rock bands, just like normal rock bands. Nothing. They didn't do anything gimmicky on stage or anything, and it wasn't like, there was no deviation from just fun poppy rock. But they just did it really
being
well.
Just a straight white middle-aged guy. Man.
That's what I want. Yeah. But Ginger Root, they were also like they're poppy rocky sort of thing, bass, drums, and then the main guy Cameron, who sort of plays on like a synthesizer, keys, and guitar and a few other things. There's a fourth guy they have up on stage who's in a red jumpsuit and has a mullet and a big like VHS style camera that he has on his shoulder. And I'm gonna have to do this for the boys here, but he's just like swinging himself side to side, like taking like footage of everyone on stage of the band members as they're playing, and that is getting projected up on the screen behind. Nice. with like a template over the top of it that's like got them in like a little like shapes basically that look like old VHS style shapes.
That's cool.
And he did this. He really knew what he was doing though, because he would get on one side of the performer, so he had the screen in the background of the shot as well, and could have really cool like delay effect,
the recursion,
seeing the screen in the background. And then at the end of some songs, he'd swing around to the crowd and then crash zoom on one person in the crowd. And the Japanese crowd were incredible at just doing these great faces. I'm just going to do for the guys in the studio here, but crash zoom, and he was like, I was like, how that was just
looking
perfect.
shocked.
It's that big like the small O mouth, big eyes, shock face.
I call it the meme from Italian Spider-Man of the reaction to the body on the floor.
Yeah. It actually had a bit of an Italian Spider-Man feel, the whole like the 90s VHS thing. Anyway, that was sort of that was the music festival. It was good fun.
So good.
That sounds fantastic.
And then on the way back, so left the music festival, drove back to Tokyo. That was 3-hour drive. And then we were heading to the airport, long story short, to fly back to Adelaide to then quickly have a sleep and wash some clothes and then fly out the next day back to the US.
Did you come back to Adelaide in between?
Yeah. And then we were surprising
so we
my
could have
wife's
done a podcast
family.
record then.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was
just
on Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, it would have been
just snoozing and then every 5 minutes going off to check the washing machine.
I think it was 60 hours of flying in the last 3 weeks.
We got quick last minute instructions from your driver to the airport to me and Brennan to say that we weren't allowed to mention that you were going to the US.
Mm-hmm, yes.
In case it got out.
Oh, that got
so
back,
but we were allowed to say that you were going to Japan.
Yes.
So.
Just in case our international listeners somehow funneled back to my wife's family, who we were surprising them for some family milestones.
We've got an understandably small listership and yet a strangely geographically listenership. I haven't even told you guys there's like a bunch in the US, there's a bunch in Sweden, there's a bunch in the UK,
nice,
and a few in South America and a few in like Eastern Europe.
Hello.
So, hello out there. For those of you that I can only assume are accidentally hearing this because it's just coming on the Spotify Next Play thing.
Right.
You're probably asleep.
Stay with us, please.
You might be getting some subconscious kind of vibes.
If they're this deep in the episode, they're in. They're hooked.
Yep.
On the way back to Tokyo and at the airport, got to just quickly stop into one of those capsule hotels. I don't know if you've heard about them.
All right.
Where it's
how do you go in a capsule hotel?
I know, that's what I was curious to find out as well. Because me being a 6'5"
end to end.
Yeah, do you have the extra long they call it the torpedo tube? No, I was very surprised. This one, at least, I don't know if they're all like this, but this one I fit lengthwise very comfortably.
Wow.
And height-wise, I could actually sit up pretty comfortably as well.
Dog.
Okay.
So I would very much recommend. This was great because we were about to get onto a very long flight and had been staying up in the mountains in a kind of a semi-uncomfortable accommodation situation and been, driving around, sitting and standing at the festival, very uncomfortable. So before getting on a long flight, it was nice to just lay out flat and have a shower as well. But would recommend.
You have a shower in there.
Not in the capsule, but yeah, that would be cool though. If it's sealed off, and then you could just like a washing machine, just kind of do it at the cycles, like rinse, spin, sleep.
I feel like that would be a Japanese thing, or a dishwasher, a public dishwasher, but everyone just stands in it, and you just all line yourselves up. And you like pay a little less to go in the cutlery bit. You pay a little more. I was going to say, which bit would you like to be on? Ooh, I reckon cutlery bit, I feel like actually gives you a little bit of separation, a little bit of
Are you
support.
Thinking the top drawer cutlery style or the basket style?
Oh, I was thinking basket because I feel like I'm not going to get a thorough wash at the top.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like they spray up and down those kind of the little helicopter propeller bit in the middle, don't they? But now you got me thinking. Maybe a hanging off one of the wine glass holder.
Oh, yeah.
Extension bits on the side if it's got that.
Yeah.
See that. I'm just wanting some support.
Yeah, Brendan, have you got a favorite dishwasher part that you would like to be part of?
There was you mentioned the basket, but I wasn't thinking because I never had a lay out the cutlery on the top design when I was younger.
You were
I've
lucky.
I've only seen those in modern dishwashers, and I have. We had a dishwasher for a while when I was younger, and it was luxury. But then that broke eventually because our family, like there was 7 kids, like we put it through its paces, and it couldn't keep up after a year or 3. And then I've never had a dishwasher since. Oh, actually, our mutual friend Dan has given us his little half size like benchtop dishwasher, and that has changed our lives. But I don't tend to load it very much, so it's mainly Aaron and Josh who kind of do it, and I'll just use a bowl and then leave it by the dishwasher.
You're a sink boy.
Just chuck your sneakers in there once a month.
But I reckon the old lie down thing, I don't know. I could do a bit of
I recommend trying
a sort of like designated lie down area.
This felt very space age as well, because you sort of went into, there was a regular feeling lobby area to the whole thing, and then you split off men and women to different sides, and then you've got essentially a change room, a gym change room feeling place where you can stash your gear, and then showers and toilets, and then you step into more of there's one of those like very heavy set doors. It goes open, so it's must be soundproof in there, I guess. That must be the reason why. And you get in there, and it feels temperature controlled as well. And it was 2-story, like 2 levels of pods, and just one long line. So maybe I want to say like 50 or 60 holes that you could see, and some have the blinds already down. But you go to your designated pod and you just sort of like slide your way in and put your little blind down. There's no door. I didn't know if there was like a closing door like that, like,
or just one of those roller gurneys, like in a
in a morgue.
You just like they all start out.
That makes sense.
Press the button. And,
that makes sense.
Like you just put in.
I can see that. Some will have that. I bet some more modern, like some like the newest built capsule hotels would have to have a button that sends out the bed, and then you climb on it.
No, regular like visitors just know you bring one of those like dollies that mechanics use to slide underneath the cars. They just pack one of those in there.
With
And then you
or kind of like a shoehorn, something where you just like.
I would like, if they do have the doors,
this.
I would like how much can it cost them? Well, what it can't be that difficult to put just a little bit of dry ice, and a little bit of blue light, so that when you open it, it goes.
And you ask someone what year it is.
Yeah.
If it was the hospital bed style, you could like slide out and then just rise vertically, like Count Dracula, just like without,
That would be fantastic. Or Wallace and Gromit style, kind of like.
It just like dips you down through a chute, down into the breakfast area. Where
it's preloaded all your clothes and like you slide it.
It would be cool. Like,
it's got to be the third episode we've referred to the Wallace and Gromit automatic breakfast thing, and I'm here for it.
It won't be the last.
I don't know. This wouldn't save space, and it wouldn't be good at all. But that washing machine thing, like I was thinking, like things you could go in like and stand upright, and then it's like spins you just at the right speed, so you feel like you're lying down.
Oh.
Like,
so it's giving you like the zero gravity, the simulated gravity.
The centripetal sort of centrifugal.
Wait, that's not how that works though. It's the opposite. No. In space, you rotate the space station to create gravity, but you're talking about.
I'm talking about because Earth. You're standing up.
It would have just spins you the other way on Earth, and that makes it zero gravity. That's how gravity works, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure there would be no way that you would feel like you're lying down unless you were lying down with like some huge factor of the gravity, because the moment it was spinning fast enough for you to feel 1 G, then it would be like it would the vectors would work out, so you'd be feeling like a G in like the diagonally down.
I'm not going to be the first volunteer to your lab as you're figuring out the kinks in this, by the way. We haven't really thought about this too much, but just climb onto this thing here.
In order to make it feel like you're lying down enough so that you don't feel like you're standing up anymore, you feel like you're like weigh 1,000 kilograms lying down.
We'll call it 1G, 2G, 3G, OG.
It's the janky like centripetal arm from the James Bond movie that they torture him with, where it's like to create the sense of the fighter pilot G-force.
And he has to reach and press the button. God, that makes me feel a bit ill watching that scene.
It's evocative, isn't it? That idea. I've been in the Gravitron. I've never been in.
I remember the Gravitron. I don't reckon I could do it now. I reckon I'm a big old wuss with tummy stuff these days.
I think it happens as you get older. Don't your inner ears get like funny as you get older.
I got on a swing in the last few years.
What were you thinking?
And I used to be able to sit on a swing all day when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And we'd see how high we could get for hours. And no problem.
Ever go over the top?
Never.
Do a full loop?
I tried my hardest.
I heard a kid did that once.
I think
was at another school.
He went to another school. Yeah, you guys wouldn't know him.
But I just thought after 3 swings, I went, add that to the list of things I can't do anymore.
You just really appreciate a stable constitution now.
Yeah.
Well, OK Go, one of their videos was that parabolic flight.
Yeah,
one.
right.
So it looked like they're in an airplane. That was the set. And then they'd go into sort of 0G and be throwing things around and water balloons popping and all that sort of stuff. Have you watched the behind the scenes on that before? That's really good.
I haven't.
It's split up into a few different parts. So there's one that's cool where it's just they're doing the test runs and they've just taken up a whole lot of props to see what happens with them. And that looks so fun. Like just seeing what colors work, what liquids kind of look cool and which ones don't work as well. Like throwing things at the camera. They had there's a couple of gymnasts who play the flight attendants. And so they had them just practicing different styles of motion and that. But they also sort of show how those parabolic things work. So it's a big plane, very industrial looking or like almost spacey plane that can fit a lot of stuff inside it. But it's going up and up and up and up and up. And then sort of, like the name suggests, as a parabola. So then like kind of hits a peak point and then comes back down and then does another one and sort of doing a sine wave. But you're experiencing extra G's on the speedy way up, and then there's the little bit where you slow down your ascent, and then that's when you like start rising. You get, I can't remember now, was it 14 seconds or no? Maybe they had nearly a minute, or they had some amount of time that they had on each parabola, to be able to do things in 0G.
I think it's a couple of minutes they can do
because they split up the song, which is like a minute and a half or 2 minutes long, into 14 or 20 second bits, because that was how long the actual top of the parabola was. And then the whole ride was like 8 parabolas, and then they would cut it. So they'd finish one parabola, and throughout the film clip, you sort of see them get into a position where they're back in a seat or something, and they wait until the next parabola, and then they've just cut out that bit in the film clip.
That's seamless.
Yeah, it's and to see all the different takes they're doing and what goes right and what doesn't, because it's absolute chaos with all the things, and they're changing seats and moving behind the camera and all this sort of stuff. Really, really good.
And I remember on that final one, right at the end of the song, it just goes nuts, and they're popping like paint balloons and throwing stuff around, and it's just going. It's just absolute anarchy. It's so fun.
Paint all goes in the pilot's eyes, and it just sort of like cuts to black, and then we haven't really heard from OK Go again since.
They looked really different at the show.
Apollo 13, that movie, they shot all the zero gravity stuff on those parabolic flights. So they built the sets inside, and you're right, it's like a giant cargo. They're like an Orion or a Hercules or one of those kind of style fuselage, and then those like actors and camera crew ended up with like more hours than any astronaut has done in the training of the parabolic flights, just because they had to do it so many times.
Right.
Because they did like 300 or 400 flights to get just all these little bits. And it looks great. You can still go, that's the one where you can go back and look at that movie, Apollo 13, and that looks better than any CGI, because it's just, they're doing it. They're just floating in zero gravity.
And that's exactly, so what the crew and cast are talking about in the behind the scenes when they're testing out what works and what doesn't, is that some things almost work too well. And they said they wanted to particularly choose objects or ideas that you couldn't just do with like computer graphics, because they're like, oh well, you could just CG something floating and that would look fine. So it was things that had a real, like, it was like, they had like laptops that they would like flip and throw to each other, or just and just things that seem almost too normal in some ways,
Yeah.
but when you're watching it, you really, like you were talking about, like hiding the working and that sort of seeing the thumbprint. The other thing is you can see the kudos to the actual members of OK Go. They're just kind of like normal dudes. They're like good musicians, but they are the ones actually doing all these stunts. And particularly the main guy, Damien, seems like a very go-getter, head of the Snake, sort of like coming up with he's a bit visionary and he loves being in there and doing it. I think it's his sister that choreographs a lot of their videos as well.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So they're like directional team. But then the other guys, you can sort of tell that, they're not actors and they're not supernatural
athletes.
performers even, or athletes. And so by
not
that
even
last
wanting
take,
to be in it, they just signed a contract with this guy originally.
well, a lot
and
of
it's
the
just like-
behind the scenes is like they're kind of over it, but they're like, oh look, something went. They're down on the ground. They're looking at the last take, and just one little thing didn't go quite right. And they're like, look, we could go and do another one. How are you all feeling? And they're just like
spent.
They've been spewing up, and like they just don't really want to do it. And so you can see in the one that makes it, which I think they cut a few together, but the final bit where it goes nuts, you can see, I think Andy's his name. I think he's the keys or guitarist. When he gets to his final position at the end of the song, he looks miserable. And just in the final clip.
Get back at the plane.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back to the Flaming Lips? They won't take you after this. Get back at the plane.
And I think it's that your appreciation goes up from just knowing that it's really them just doing it. Like they didn't get actors or anyone else. It's just them doing it.
Oh, man. Good.
So you got to see them?
Yep.
And then after Japan, came back to Adelaide, quick stopover, didn't do a podcast, went off to the US. How was that? Surprised the in-laws?
Yes. Got the exact reaction that we'd sort of hoped for and predicted, which was jaw to the floor of Kristen's mum. We choreographed it, so we were at we planned a dinner that they were going to arrive to. That was in celebration of the milestones. That her father was turning 70 and her mum's retiring while we were there. And the Kristen's cousin's place where we had staged the dinner, and we were going to be there as well. So everything else was true. That's the other thing. We're trying to figure out how to like plan a surprise. That's quite a fun thing that I've never really gotten to do something quite like that before. And our ideas and stories got really out of control. And we're like, let's just keep it really simple. Let's keep it like, And I was like, the best lies are just completely smothered in truth. So that was like the best.
That's how you pitched it to your wife?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Was it stressful? Like I get anxiety around like both being the recipient and planning the surprise for things, just because I don't know.
Well, we knew that her mum particularly doesn't like being the center of attention or anything. So when we were thinking, we wanted to do something special, and we could either tried to plan something from Australia, but then that might put her a little bit too much in the spotlight. We were like, this sort of surprise, it's low stakes in the sense that it's only a small group of family there, so that was fine. It's a shock, but I think something that they would like, and we were able to control the variables about things. Like we knew they'd be there, we knew it would be okay for us to stay with them for those 2 weeks, because it was also like, surprise, we're staying with you for 2 weeks. But some of the stressful parts were knowing that when we're in Japan at the music festival, I think of it as like layers of the onion that you have to like unravel to get back to where you need to be. And so we're at the furthest away stage from the entrance of a festival that's 3 hours away from the city, where we have to then fly, like a 12 to 15 hour like journey to get to a halfway point before we then take another 18-hour journey and then have to get from the airport there to the house where the party is. So there was a lot of stages that when you were within like 50 hours, we had to do all of that stuff. So that was stressful.
Right. Oh boy.
But at least we had a lot of things that we'd done as best planning as we could. And then we just kind of had to hope that flights were on time and nothing else got in the way. And that's as good as we could do. That was kind of adding to the excitement though. That was the stakes, I guess. And it really threw her parents off the scent, because they, being the good parents they were, they wanted to make sure we got back from Japan all safe and sound. So they knew we'd gotten back.
Yep.
And then, with these services where you can like track your family on location apps or whatever, we slyly only turned that off on the morning we left, and were messaging our messaging to them was very like, good to be home, he's
Yeah.
going to sleep really well, blah, blah. Little did they know that we then just got straight back on another plane.
Yeah.
So it was cool. It was like, the stakes all worked out
sleep really well on the plane to America.
To you.
I mean, that's as close as we civilians really get to like full espionage, isn't it?
Yeah.
It did feel like being a spy.
Turning the trackers off.
Wow.
It tickled that part of me that wanted to be like a secret agent.
Oh, man. So did someone come up to you on the plane and just say, can I interest you in the cinema of the Caribbean?
I just say the password. I didn't know it. I got it wrong.
I didn't know it.
You don't know what happens when you get it wrong.
No.
They just give you a really sour look. Give you 2 more goes, and then they lock you out.
You have to wait 24 hours.
Yeah.
Now it's like the captures or whatever. They just come up to you and they're like, look over there. Can you identify all the crosswalks? That one? Is that one? Nope. That's the edge of one, but I don't know. Now point at all the bicycles. No, you missed one over there. So, I couldn't see that one. I said all the bicycles.
I'm getting those things now where it's like, click on all of the animals that walk on 4 feet or something like that, and there'll be some, ducks or something, and then there'll be some dogs. But I'm pretty sure these are all AI generated images because they don't look very good. And I'm like, well, I mean, I think you're trying to represent a dog there.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that is, so I don't know if it walks on 4 legs. It's kind of got a couple of extra legs.
I mean, this is how the Matrix got this good, though, like that we're in now, right? So just to bring, a callback to our 1999 reference, right? They're just adapting and adjusting all the time, just making it a little bit more accurate to what they think.
You actually think the movie came out in 99, but actually it was closer to 21.99.
Whoa.
I wanted to drop that Morpheus quote in the first time, but I missed it. So thank you very much for bringing an opportunity.
I mean, this is an editable format. We can, anything that you really want to tighten up, we can just say.
We're back.
Dearie me.
That was a lot of the trip. The one cool thing we got to do while we were over there was we visited an art exhibition of one of Kristen's sort of distant family, and he does printmaking,
cool.
which is really cool. He and his wife both do a bunch of really cool art, but this exhibition was him showing demonstrating the printmaking, and he was saying that it's sort of where modern printmaking is at is based on, if you think of like Japanese wood block prints, sort of where sort of a cube of wood that you could carve out an image that was like offset from the rest of the wood, and then you'd put that in some ink, and then you get the same shape over and over and again.
Yeah,
that's the general idea of printmaking. But what they do now, they have these like solar plates. That might be a brand name, but they're sort of I don't know what they're made out of. It sort of just looks like a polymer sort of sheet, a very thin sheet, but that maybe part of it is metal, and then you've got the polymer on top. But it's light sensitive, and you can print out, or you can sort of do it. It's very versatile. But the way I've seen and the way he was showing at this demonstration was he could like digitally create an image that would be just a white black shape, so no other color, no shading or anything like that, just elements on the page that were white and elements that were black, and you could print that out onto a transparent like a what do you call it, projection transparency. And then you lay that over the photosensitive material, put that under a light or in the sun or whatever, and certain parts of the polymer get hard from the light that's coming in on the bits that the transparency lets through, and then the rest stays soft, and then you soak that in water, or there might have been something else in the water, and then you just sort of lightly brush off the rest of the polymer, so it comes off, but it gives you like a really fine thin print, unlike a wooden block where it would be quite a coarse sort of.
We did it in like high school art with linoleum, I think, like squares of lino flooring, I guess.
Oh
yeah. So, I don't know if there's a special one, but we were high school kids, so it's probably just lino, probably just ripped up from the old gym or something. But
and how'd you create the relief on that?
So then you'd have to sketch or draw a piece of art, and then you would carve out with these tools, like little kind of V-shaped chisels and things like that. So you'd sort of just be like digging out, etching out the lino and then dipping that in ink and then creating the sort of imprints.
Cool.
What you're talking about though, we did in electronics. So when I used to see printed circuit boards back in the day. So you'd design a circuit pathway and then either draw or like print it onto transparency.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. Then did you have to treat the copper plating beforehand, or was it photosensitive copper?
I can remember, drawing or painting it, and then we would put it in like a bath.
Yeah, you'd soak it. In it was like a photographic kind of development process. You'd put it in like a developer, and you'd put it in a etching fluid, and then you'd put it in a fixer.
Yeah.
And then so you'd basically put it in something that was going to eat away the copper.
Except for the areas that you had printed or painted.
That's cool. Then you drill out your holes, and then so that's interesting. That's kind of. I wonder how long they've been.
And I can imagine the sharpness of the resolution that you could get with light like that, because when I always like when you're trying to do like shadow puppets. Like the sun's really good at it, because by the time the sun's rays get to us, they're essentially parallel. And so you get a really sharp. I think like when you're doing it with lights inside, the closer you get to the wall that you're projecting your thing, the sharper the edges of your shadow gets. And so like if it's on the item, which it is, like the light, like the detail there would have such much better resolution than anything you could probably carve, or even maybe 3D print. Like I'm not sure.
It seemed incredibly sharp, because then he was just using very like to me imprecise looking tools to just apply the ink with like a little roller, and then you could just basically just slap it on a piece of paper. If the more precisely you do it, the better it kind of looked and composed on the page. But he was also showing, so that was sort of cutting relief. So you've got a raised bit that you're putting the ink onto.
Yes,
you got that right. But then he was also showing the opposite, which had some Italian name, something like Intaglio or something like that, which was the opposite. I can't remember now because he didn't do I don't think he did a full demonstration of that, but you get the opposite bit that allowed you to have a transparency sheet that had gradient on it, like between white and black.
Right.
So you got sort of depth to it.
Interesting.
Which came up. And then you had the opposite. So you were painting on. I think then you just put it in a solution, and maybe still scrubbed or you just. I can't remember now what he said about that one, because he didn't do it in person. But then you got the opposite. Like you're getting what's the opposite of relief? Like the
emboss.
The emboss, of that thing. But that was, you could barely even see, like you had to really hold it up to the light to see all the grooves and divots in that one, but
it was enough to
come out with a super clear, really nice like print. And I really like what his name's Mark Brody, if you want to look him up. Mark Brody. And I really like he takes photos of, or he has photos of a lot of industrial buildings and workspaces and things like that. And then we'll just like either digitally alter them or get them onto transparencies, and it'll often be like window pocked buildings. And then he'll get his relief or intaglio, and then sort of just take that with different colors and put a whole lot of the same I don't know what you call this, the same plate on one piece. And it makes some really cool geometric looking pieces.
There'd have to be an art to the managing the viscosities of the ink as well, because if you've got such a high resolution stamp where you could barely like see the relief or whatnot, you'd imagine that have too viscous an ink and then all your hard work's ruined.
Well, as opposed to an actual art form, can you use the expression there must be an art to like there must be an art to really doing print work? Well, there must be a real art to painting. Painting portraits.
There must be. It must be. I did ask about was he relying on capillary action, depending how you say it in America or Australia, for the ink to kind of get into bits that you won't get in if they were really fine. But he was like, no, you just roll, just kind of like goes on. I was like, oh, okay.
Kind of goes on.
What a stupid question.
Turns out there wasn't an art to it. It's just
So if we really, really wanted to slow down the stop motion process, we could do every frame with a print that we actually have to expose in the sun and then etch away, and we do that frame by frame. And then what we have to get the ink ourselves. We have to make the ink. We have to catch the squids, and then milk them.
Is that what? Yeah.
I saw a YouTube video of this guy who did an animation. He did one frame a day for a year, but his self-imposed rule that he wasn't allowed to look at the previous frame, and it ended up being a really cool, zany kind of thing that he took notes on sort of what he'd done, and then he knew the size of the frame that he was doing, and then he like estimated where he was, and it's a really cool. I can't a frame a day for a year, like not being able to look at. I can't remember the name of the guy, but I'm sure you'd find it on YouTube. But it was kind of kind of
be a real art to that kind of thing.
Dearie me.
Do you want to watch a clip from the Curiosity Show?
The Curiosity Show.
I've been itching to watch a clip.
Yeah,
it's been too long.
Because this is Super Mind Stretches.
Sure as heck is.
How late in the show is it legal to actually do the intro?
I mean, have we got a new record? I think we might.
I think this would be.
All right, picking at random here. I'm looking at expansion and contraction, a paradox. You know this one?
What with expansion and contraction?
I'm just going to give you the title, Brendan. Our resident Curiosity Show archivist.
It's not jumping out to me.
Okay,
is the honest answer.
All right,
but we'll see. I have watched a lot of the Curiosity Show.
Mysterious.
Most things, when they're heated, expand. They get bigger. And if they're long, they get longer. Most things, but not everything. Metal certainly does. And I'll show you that with a very simple device that you can use and make yourself.
Rob's sideburns have expanded.
First of all, there's a block of wood here, and it's got a nail in it. And that nail's had the head removed so that one piece of the metal can slot over that with a little hole. And that's going to hold the end of this piece of metal steady. It's a length of iron, but any metal will do. It stops that end moving, so if there's any movement, it'll happen at the other end. And that we can detect with a pointer, which is simply made with a pin poked through a piece of cardboard. The cardboard's the pointer, and the pin is a roller. If I put it on there, you can see how it's going to work. Rest it on that block of wood, let the pointer hang down, and put this piece of metal on top. And if we do something to make that metal grow in length, you can see it's going to roll over the top of the pin, and the pointer will go in that direction. Oh. All right, let's set it back to hanging down at the bottom.
I thought he was doing it. I think he was doing that with his hands.
Get mistaken, we'll just make a little mark at the bottom of that pointer, and that's before the iron has done anything. Now we heat the iron up with a candle. Here goes. In the middle, we'll move the candle along. You can see that already that pointer has started to move. It's coming back slowly towards the candle. And that's the direction we'd expect if the iron was heating up and getting longer. And the hotter it gets, the more it'll roll over that pointer, and the more the pointer will move around. So let's make a mark there to show the direction of expansion. It's coming up in that direction there.
These guys are so good at writing upside down.
Metal expands, but not all things do. Most things do, but not all. And one surprising difference is in rubber. If you take a large rubber band like this, you can show that the opposite is going to occur. We'll use the same device and stretch the rubber band, a good thick one here, around the block of wood. Now, if you do this at home or at school, remember that putting rubber near a flame is generally safe enough, but it could catch fire and be troublesome. So don't do it without an adult, a teacher or a parent or somebody older who can help you. And they'll be as interested in it as you are. All right, there's the rubber band round there. And we'll put the pointer back and we'll place the tip of it where it started off. Now, if that rubber were to expand, the same as the metal, we'd expect the point to go in the direction of the arrow. But I think you'll see a difference. I'll put it down on the table and use a more controllable flame to heat it up on the same side. Let's see if the pointer does the same thing. Here we go. Here's the flame. Playing on the rubber, and you can see it does exactly the opposite. When you heat the rubber, it doesn't expand, it contracts. It's very peculiar stuff. And one of the peculiarities it has is to remain flexible while tough, which makes it excellent for car tires.
A little bit of extra knowledge at the end there.
Noticing the little leather pouch on his belt there. Is that like a naval sort of thing? What do you reckon?
Oh, could be.
This little like pocket watch pouch. You get a good look at it. Oh, yeah, a wristwatch there.
Maybe I'll become a pouch on my belt kind of guy. I'm at that age now where I just don't care what.
I would have been shocked that you were not already. You've got pouches and other articles of clothing.
I do. Yeah,
they're very impressive. I love a good pouch or a good pocket or a good satchel.
I was in an army disposals surplus gear place the other day, and they've got their like systems where you've got your backpack with all the loops, and then you can get the different. And it's like a grid, and you can like Tetris your own pouch, different pouch size. System on the back. Oh man, I could look at that stuff.
Webbing.
Oh, I love it.
We all just want a Batman utility belt.
We
at the end of the
don't
day.
we? Yeah.
The one I was a sucker for was like map holders, like those long tube leather.
Yeah.
With maybe a strap so you can go diagonally across.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Body.
Something that Benjamin Franklin. What's his name? What's Nicolas Cage's character in National Treasure? Benjamin Franklin Gates or something.
Yeah. Oh man, those are great movies.
So expansion and contraction. We were just talking, I don't know if it was on air, but about the railway lines and about how the fact that I still don't quite understand. So they don't need gaps in them, you were saying.
Yeah. What was it? Because they used to leave. What did they used to do? They used to bolt them together, and because if they crack and shrink, that's actually not that much of a problem.
Okay,
like because they used to build them and exactly right, and then they'd expand and they'd like flex and buckle, and that was a real problem because if they flex and kind of snake around in different ways, the left and the right, then you're gonna have all sorts of problems for your train.
Spill all over your lap
axles.
while you're riding.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, and we wouldn't want that happening.
No.
But
these pants are brand new.
So in order to but like contracting is okay because if they contract to the point where they crack and break, that's easier to repair.
I thought if they contract, you just get to your station quicker.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't have to go as far.
They drag the entire town close to you.
That's actually how the bullet trains work.
Yeah. But no, what they actually do is they make sure to install, at least in America, this is the origin of the video that I saw. Brady from Practical Engineering, he's really great. They actually install rails on a really hot day. They only install them on a hot day so that they're at their most expanded when they go in, and so then any other day of the year, they're most of the time all rails are under tension.
Okay. I thought it was just to be like crueler to the chain gang working on
that too.
Railway.
That too, because if you bust it, pew, it flies up and hits your mate.
That was good. That's not the first time you've had to make that noise.
I would love to know what's that noise. It's similar, but it's like a sword unsheathing, and they've got it in Robert Palmer's Simply Irresistible. You know, it used to look good to me, but now I find her. That one, I'd love to know how that's made because it's too good. It's like
that was people are just going to be clipping that now and using that.
That was like the Prince of Persia.
That noise and the like. I'd love to know the Foley secrets behind that noise and
I can tell you that one. It's like they've just got a long rod of metal and they just run like a flat piece of metal against it, and it makes this perfect.
Yeah, there's something ethereal about that shing. It's almost like there's a reverse element. Do you know what I mean? Like when you hear a cymbal in reverse and it goes, I know, and it's got that it's like otherworldly reverse sound. There's something else
I wonder
happening
why that is. Why you get that sound. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's kind of like sucking in energy.
Like it's not just a anvil ding. It's like the
visual metaphor I got in my head just then was like the way that car tires look like they're spinning backwards. When they're spinning. I wonder why there is something about this noise that feels like we associate it with like unsheathing. You know, removing or moving outwards rather than inwards.
The other noise I'd love to know how they do is that primal scream. Like the Nutrigrain guy on the ad used to do it. But it's like, but it's got like some. It's got, thank you.
Ganondorf.
But it had some other.
He was just a very manly man that ate Nutrigrain. That's That's what you sound like.
But
did you not eat Nutrigrain?
The two places that
would just happen involuntarily if you ate Nutrigrain.
We weren't allowed Nutrigrain. No, we were
for that reason.
But not very often.
Every morning you hear the neighbours.
I would always just. I would just. It's too much.
Nutrigrain again.
I didn't need that much sugar when I was a kid. But you know, I would have it.
Iron Man food.
Yeah, Iron Man food. The two places I think of that primal scream is the Nutrigrain ad and the scene in Beethoven 2, I think, where I think it's Beethoven 2. I don't think it's 3. I think
Charles
it's 2.
Grodin reacting to him shaking on the bed.
No, close. Close. It was Charles Grodin wasn't there. It was when the eldest sister
finished his Nutrigrain.
It was when the eldest sister, the one who was in The Nanny, when she was at a beach house with a guy that she liked, and the guy ended up being a bit of a creep.
Okay,
and she was like he was kind of cornering her, and but they'd tied up Beethoven to one of the girders supporting this beach house over the lake.
Oh, and he rips it down.
And he rips down he rips down the entire house.
I reckon I've thought about that image from the time I watched it.
It rips off the wall of the beach house, and it's so over the top because this guy falls out into the lake and he goes, "Roar!"
That's a great practical effect of the whole house coming down like that.
Yeah. But they really use this. I think it's like the Wilhelm scream. It's got it's got that kind of iconic, history and iconic nature about it. But it's just this weird. I would love to know how it was recorded because it's got this non-human element to this scream. It's because
sometimes they mix in like animal sounds, like or the Jurassic Park like dinosaur. You know, there's like lion.
And that tiger sound.
You
hear it everywhere,
good, man. You're pulling
out a few everywhere.
These on tap.
You'll hear that everywhere, and there's a kid laughing sound that's everywhere too. It's the
high pitch. I was thinking of a different one.
That one there, you'll hear that everywhere. It used to be on the Windows 95, like it was one of the opening sounds or closing sounds. It was like, and they just like use it and everything. It's on an episode of Breaking Bad. I can hear it like. It's like
so interesting though, isn't it? Like how accurately and how much your brain can just go.
The auditory system is just the unsung hero of your senses, I reckon. Like it's so much more like high fidelity. Like you can get it. Yeah, it takes in so much and holds so much more data than we give it credit for.
Yeah, we understand it less implicitly than we do like vision.
Sight and yeah. But I was thinking about this Curiosity Show clip we watched because he did go into some things expanding, some things contracting. And I wonder if you guys have a theory about the rubber contracting when exposed to heat, because my understanding of metal expanding is because, you know, the ions are like locked in a structure and but they're sort of free to move in metals, I guess. And then if you heat it up, that gives them more energy And so they tend
put more energy in.
They put more energy in, so they want to move around more. They take up more space, and it kind of expands, I guess.
So there's something about the nature of rubber, because when you
What's the
pull rubber,
structure?
like
Yeah,
you
that's what I
pull
was
rubber
thinking.
bands apart, they get hot, like they heat up, right? Because and that makes sense to me because you're putting energy in to stretch them.
Yeah.
But he's literally holding a flame, pulled out his cigarette lighter, just probably holds a cigarette behind his back for the take. And this, I don't know, this is probably the 70s. I'm surprised they didn't just have a ciggy in the mouth.
It must, it must be that rubber. I know is like a natural protein, like it's like a chain, right? As opposed to a lattice structure of ions. I guess I think it's like they're just like a tangly chain, and that's what it enables it to expand because you're kind of stretching out those chains.
Yeah, so maybe when you apply heat to it, why is it then contracting then? But we associate other things with getting like shrinking with heat, like shrinkies.
Yeah.
Hey, we're on a 90s roll with Beethoven.
They're
and
polymers,
everything
so
else,
that's another chain.
Can you explain shrinkies to me?
Oh, well. So, no,
No,
I can't. Sorry.
It can't be done.
So there was a thing of taking these like little plastic kind of toys, putting them in the oven, and then they would shrink down. And I kind of associate them in the same space as like Tarzos and things that would like come in.
I think you could like decorate them on a larger scale, and then when you shrank them down, it was kind of like looked cool because it was like
what you'd drawn,
your detail had been sort of like
compressed down.
I don't know. I think it was, and people made like jewelry out of them. I remember people like you'd put it on an earring and shrink it down, and it would be like a shrinky earring.
Yeah, but they were basically a plastic, weren't they?
Yeah,
A polymer.
yeah.
You put it in the oven. That I would have thought was like also like dehydrating something, like taking the moisture out of something and then it shrinks down, but maybe not. I think you might be closer to the mark there with the idea of like long molecule chains. But still, I can't understand how you add energy into that and it contracts. Maybe it needs energy in order to be able to pull close together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it was statically close together, the parts of the molecule, the tangle, like the shoelace tangle.
I think tangliness is an element of tangliness in the answer. I think.
Yeah, like maybe
I just want to say tangliness.
Maybe you add energy to this molecule chain, and it kind of allows it to be able to pull close to each other. Yeah. Whereas it might have been like repelling apart from each other otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. I like your repelling idea because if there's some polarity to the chains, maybe there's some repulsion that's happening that's minimized under the presence of more energy.
Yeah, I can intuitively very basically understand the idea that some things would need energy to stay close together, and some things would need energy to move apart from each other.
Yeah.
Like if there's already a bond between two things, then you need energy to pull them apart. But if there's two things that don't want to be close to each other, you need to put energy into the system to push those two things close together.
Allows a more stable structure to kind of.
So I wonder if it's something like that.
It's one of those. This is one of those moments where I feel like I have learnt an explanation to this, like on a video like this, from either Curiosity Show or Steve Mould, and it's fallen out of my brain. I'm pretty sure I have learned exactly that.
But you had to make room for like the cheat codes for Zelda and a few other things as well in there. So you can't have everything in the brain all in one go.
That's got to live somewhere.
That's in the vault. So I wonder how big you can get the effect with the heat, where if you held a bit of rubber, that you would notice it. If it got heated up, if you could like feel it pulling or something, like
that's
feel it
interesting.
Contracting. So I wouldn't expect that with the metal, with expanding or anything. But like when I'm thinking about the rubber, I'm like, oh well, if it is contracting, you wonder if
feel
you
the tension
feel
pulling on.
Not at this level with like
but like the railway like example would make me think that it would happen on massive scales if you like add enough energy to a big system. Then you'd get all sorts of compressions and expansions. Like, aren't the oceans like one big sort of hydrodynamic system where there's like they're reacting to the heat of the sun. It's not the same as this, but on some level, everything is either expanding or contracting depending on the energy in and out of it.
Yeah,
I would have thought.
Yeah.
And ice is like that other weird one, isn't it? Where like water freezes but expands.
The solid water it takes up more space than the liquid water.
Yeah, I think we did touch on that, didn't we, on the thermometer episode? Maybe.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, that's the difference between slingshots and bows and arrows. Like with a bow and arrow, the flex in the wood is what's driving the bow, really.
Yes.
And so you can pull back on an arrow and hold it. I mean, other than you exhausting your arm, it doesn't matter. You can hold, and it would still get the same thrust. With a slingshot with a rubber band, you don't want to, in order to get the most power, you don't want to pull it back and hold it and aim and then shoot, because when you pull it back, that it heats up. So
it's going to start losing energy from the moment you pull it back.
From the moment you pull it back, it's losing. You want it to be warm when you let go, because otherwise it's just energy loss, and then it won't.
Okay.
It won't contract with the same ferocity.
That's why I couldn't beat Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, because you
just kept holding the slingshot back the whole time. Yeah.
And that's why when you see slingshot like professionals, all those times that you see, you'll see them kind of go, and I'll do the action for the boys. You see them kind of go,
not Goliath,
pew. Because they really the pull back and the let go. Like a lot of the energy from in the shot comes from how quickly you pull back and release.
Would that be also true of a bow and arrow? It's just that wood would take
very
longer
possibly
to dissipate the energy as heat.
It's less time, it's less crucial.
And I guess your arm is continually putting energy into the system by remaining tense. You did start there by saying, interestingly enough, how interesting does the thing have to be to justify using that?
There's an art to finding that interesting. There's an art to it.
What's the biggest rubber band you've ever used?
Oh, that's a good one.
Not that big, just the ones that probably go around like an A4 book.
Does surgical rubber, those tubes, does that count? Those surgical ones with the like for physio.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those tubes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, rubber band. If we're specifically talking rubber band, I reckon I had one that was. I found it was about an inch wide.
Yeah,
and you could. At no stretch, like comfortably fit it around a tissue box. It was like really
that one sat separate to your bowl of rubber bands.
I kept that one. Yeah. I must admit, like when I was a kid, like wanting to make like slingshots and like little fiery doodly doos and just play with rubber bands. I could not get enough of the classic number 32. Red rubber band. I think it's number 32. I think that's that classic Australia Post red rubber band.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you guys, I walk into work, I've got tubs full of them, and I am my own 8-year-old self's hero. Like, because my brother and I, if we found some really good quality rubber bands, it's like, what could we like? We could do anything with these.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like gold. We could make a slingshot. We could make a little thingy that fires a thing, and we would go out whenever we went to St Agnes Shopping Centre when Mum was doing the shopping or something. And if we were in the car, if the car was parked near the post office, sometimes they'd be in the car park, like they'd fallen out of the guy's car or something, and they'd be on the ground, and we'd pick up this red rubber band, and we'd be like, it's a red rubber band.
That's when you knew you were going to be a postie.
Yeah, that's when I knew. And now I have so many. I have several lifetime supplies of red rubber bands. And every time I like put my hand into the tub of rubber bands and just pull up a fistful, I'm just like, I've made it.
So I was just laughing.
Happiness is unending. Rubber bands.
I was laughing at what you said, Ben, because it made me think of. I just pictured Brendan leaning over too far to see what's in front of him, picking up a rubber band, and then be very like Indiana Jones, Last Crusade, like the hat, lift up moment.
That'd be a good ad for Australia Post.
Yeah.
Now here's one for Snopes, because I have buried in the back of my brain what I I've always assumed was a fact, and I have no idea where I got this from, that rubber bands were invented by a guy who chopped up a hot water bottle.
Oh,
that fact is just sat buried in the back of my brain.
I hope that's true.
I can't get my head around like why hot water bottles would have been invented prior to rubber bands,
Right.
like in general, in terms of just rubber technology and applications of rubber. For that
please
to
be true.
But doesn't that sound like the perfect kind of like untrue fact that you just end up?
Does.
And this was like, that's the beauty of like when we grew up, prior to the like internet, and that you could like, that was the last generation of just like that sort of thing, I reckon, of just like, we could easily verify that now, but it's nice just to have these things sitting in the back of your head where you're like, that was in some book written by someone who was on a deadline. It was like, no one's ever going to check this. How are they going to know? They're not going to be able to prove me wrong.
How are they going to know? And someone said it at a pub. It's fact.
We of that generation must be walking around with a bunch of those gems just sitting in our.
If it wasn't in Carter 97,
then
it wasn't fact. You couldn't disprove it or prove it. Or
Carter.
I had a different one on my computer. I didn't have Encarta. We had the poor man's version, the Compton's Encyclopedia.
Mm-hmm.
And now the only thing that was really good about it was that
you could say I read that straight out of Compton. Sorry.
You could say that.
So that's where that's from.
That's where that's from. That is actually where it's from. Yeah. But the tutorial of it, like when you got it and you could watch like the little video on where to go and how to use it, was narrated by Patrick Stewart. A little video, a little VCD, like little inset box would come up with.
Can you do Patrick Stewart?
Really do Patrick. I can't really.
I thought you were doing Patrick Stewart, Tom. Then when you went, whoa.
Welcome to Compton.
Welcome to Compton's Encyclopedia, and he'd tell you about what to say. Yeah. I wish I could find a copy of Compton's Encyclopedia because it had some great sounds on that as well. Some great library sounds.
Did you ever later get to see the Encarta like game within Encarta? Like Wizard, what was it? I can't remember exactly what it was now.
I don't know. It was voiced by William Shatner.
The rich man's.
There was like a strange game where you had to go through a labyrinth and answer like quiz questions or something. Wasn't it?
That's cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. I also like the music section.
As close as you could get to a computer game sometimes during no video game time.
Oh, yeah. So I would play anything that even vaguely looked like a video game.
Can you remember absolutely. If you went to like sell X97 or something and entered XL97 or something in XL97 and pressed enter, it would bring up the credits for XL. And you would be flying around in this landscape, and then
I was going to say there's a flight simulator.
There was like a flight sim thing in a Microsoft Excel 97, and if you entered Excel _97 in one of the things, it would just bring up. And I just thought that was the coolest, weirdest secret. And you'd fly around this like alien landscape. And then if you flew around, you'd find this TV screen in like the moon-like surface, and it would be like a scrolling marquee of all the scrolling thing of all the folks.
Sounds like
names.
A dream that you had.
Yeah, no,
I know exactly what you mean. When we get weirdest bug in Excel, really.
No, when we get off the recording, I'm gonna look it up on my phone because someone would have done it and screen captured it and put on.
Well, the weird thing is Excel actually started out as a flight simulator, and then just every like update, it just slowly evolved.
They're going to say it as a hot water bottle. It's okay. No, well, now you've taken that too far.
Interestingly enough,
there's an art
to spreadsheets.
Your tangliness.
Should we intro the show? Oh no, we've introed the
show.
Should we outro the show?
We watched the thing. Yeah.
Well, if you've got an old computer, whether it's got Encarta or Excel or Compton's, you could type in whatever it is, 97 down into cell 97 and make it so.
Make it so on your friends.
Or try it on your friends.